Okay, I think it's 2 o'clock. We're ready to go. Somebody tell me whether you can hear me. Oh, the technical problems. And then we'll get to answering some questions. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining my live stream. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know. Hello, Alex. Yes, we can. Okay. All right, let me know if the sound is too high or too low. I'll adjust it. Let's go back in the comments and start with some questions. We'll start with Mousetrap's question on the Mousetrap 134. He asking, all is well today, what would be the normal price for a 2021-22 GT3? So this is something that lots of people ask, and everyone has a very short memory on this stuff. I say wait for prices to return to normal. Obviously, it's still a new model, and because of production problems with the GT3 and all Porsche models, and some of them sinking into the ocean, it's driving up prices. And of course, dealers and people that have managed to get these cars are trying their best to fish for idiots that are willing to pay $100,000 over with these cars. But remember back to 2018, and remember back to 2015, and remember back to the 997 generation. 2018, Porsche dealers were selling GT3s at a discount. Everybody seems to have forgotten this because in the end, Porsche made too many GT3s. And the same in 2015 with the 991 generation, 991.1 generation. They made too many, and they were selling them at a discount. So as soon as production catches up, you'll be able to buy the GT3 at normal recommended retail price. So don't go spending $100,000 extra on a GT3. It's just, you'd just be a fool to do that. Next question is Zuma, who writes, how do I think about the Porsche Panamera's future? I don't think there's much future for the Porsche Panamera, but they might prove me wrong. It's just that they sell so slowly, and now with electric cars and people don't buy luxury sedans anymore, I very much doubt the Panamera will get another generation, but I could be wrong. Martin writes, hi Nick, my question is, shall I sell my 2020 GT4 with a little profit now before the real electric car hype starts? Well, I think the real electric car hype is already with us. I think we've got quite a few more years of ICE cars, however. If you sold it now, you get good value because of the shortage of new cars, so you get a good profit. But if you love your car, I say hold on to it. Hi Nick, when do you expect the 992.2 to be released, and what changes would you like to see? It will be released, we'll hear about it next year. It's, as you know, a 7-year cycle, and in the 4th year, the .2 gets released, and next year is the 4th year. So we'll probably get details towards the end of this year, but it'll be released next year. And yeah, I don't know what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping they don't go too much more power because they're already powerful enough. And yeah, I'm hoping that hybrid or electric hybrid is not going to ruin the cars. I don't know. I'm hoping for some more exciting models and some limited edition models like I really love the 50th generation 991.1s. Hope something like that, the 60th generation comes out, the 60th year or whatever it's called, something like that I'd like to see. But yeah, there's been some pictures of a rally version and big tire versions. That would all be cool as well. Next question is, hey Nick, how do you find the Porsche's upcoming electric Macan? Well, I haven't driven one, no one's driven one yet. I'm quite excited for it. I certainly plan to get an electric Macan when they come out. You know, to me the Macan's a luxury vehicle, and so I think electric version of the Macan and the Cayman would suit the market well, and if you're using it as a day-to-day commuter, electric's perfect for a car like that. Jaded Jake writes, oh, an Extreme, isn't that something to look forward to? I don't know about that. Joseph writes, hi Nick, what do you think is a better buy? A 918 GT4 or a 718 GT4? I don't know. They're more similar than dissimilar, I think. keep in mind that these are really still the same generation really. It's just with the 718 you're getting all the nice mod cons as well, and I don't know, I think that 4-litre engine is a bit of a winner. So I'd probably get the 718. Marek writes, hi Nick, do you know what happened to your 991.2 C2S? That was a C4S, not a C2S. What was wrong with that car? Actually, very little was wrong with that car. In the end, that was a bit of a mess because, not to speak out of turn about this, but there wasn't that much wrong with it. What ended up being wrong was when I had the original fuel, there was a fuel tank pressure gauge or pressure release valve that had gone wrong in that car. And what Porsche ended up doing, because it was my car and they didn't want me to make bad YouTube videos about how my car keeps breaking down, they said, just replace everything. Go ahead and replace everything. Don't just replace the valve, replace the computer and the gas tank and the pump and everything. Just replace everything to do with the gas line. And that was a mistake, because then there was a lot of mismatched parts. You know, they put a lot of 2019 parts into a 2017 car. And so everything worked, but when you plugged the computer in, it came up with dozens and dozens of errors. So whenever the mechanics looked at that car, there was always a million error messages, and they were all to do with mismatched versions. And so in the end, they just brought that car back from me, and I think what they ended up doing, although I don't know for sure, I think they ended up putting the correct parts back in, and that car was resold down in Texas, and someone's very happy with it. So yeah, I love the configuration of that car, so I hope whoever has it now is very happy with it. After the 718 is made into an EV, will the petrol, well, this is Arnold's question, after the 718 is made into an EV, will the petrol 718 still be made, and if so, will it gain value? I have no idea. I don't know. I suspect they'll run parallel for a little while, although Porsche have commented multiple times that they will discontinue the gas-powered 718s. I mean, it's a slow-selling model anyway. The 718's never been a popular model within Porsche, so maybe it's not worth them selling the ICE, you know, version. So I don't know. Will it gain a value? I don't know. I don't know whether petrol cars are going to increase in value over time, being rare, but I doubt it. Ernie writes, condolences on your brother. Always enjoy your car videos. Keep it good work. Thank you, Ernie. Nord writes, 3 questions. Oh, he's so greedy, Nord. Will you consider an electric Porsche or other EV? Yes, as I said before, I would certainly when the EV Macan comes out, and almost certainly, you know how Porsche releases their cars, they release the top model first and then trickle down. I don't probably want a turbo S, whatever, Macan. I'd just be happy with an S. So once I've got all the problems worked out with the EV Macan, I would certainly like to get one of those. What's your take on the car prices? Will EVs and legislation destroy the values of our beloved Porsches, or maybe increase the price? I think the rare models, the difficult to get models, and the sought after models like the 4-litre 718s and so forth are always going to be worth a decent amount of money, but it's hard to know. It's hard to know. I think there's always going to be that market for petrol cars that sound better and you know, provide an enjoyment of driving that EVs don't. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess. BP writes, when are you back in Canada? All good up here now. Are you sure? I've seen the news. I don't know. I sometimes have to go to Canada for work, so maybe later in the year. Hang on, Nord's back. 3, I've ordered a new GT4 RS, painter sample with extra bits and pieces, mag wheels, every whistle. Am I a complete moron with my money, or a super genius? Actually, I find the new GT RS more intriguing than the GT3. Well, yeah, it probably is a more fun car to drive than the GT3. And are you a complete moron with your money? No, of course not. If you love the car, if this is what you want, then it's money well spent, right? So I think you'll love it. Jeffrey writes, sorry to hear about your brother. Thank you. Wombat Cadendra writes, were you bothered by the tall gears in the 718 GTS 4 or by the Spider? So it depends where you're driving these cars. So the few times I've driven them, it's always been out on the highway, and so the tall gears definitely don't bother me. The tall gears seem to bother people around the town driving, and it is annoying around town, but not so much that it would ruin you. If you were thinking about buying one, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Scott writes, you like green, Nick? How about an electric lime Toyota colour? How about the electric lime Toyota colour? I'm not familiar with what that colour is, but I do like some of Toyota's cars that they're bringing out at the moment. Boy, they, yeah, Toyota are hitting out of the park with a few of their cars, and same with Nissan. So yeah, the Japanese are doing some great things at the moment. Why don't you get a 997, the last of the great 911s? I don't think I'll ever own a 997. I know a lot of people love them. For me, I don't know. If I wanted something around that generation, I think I'd still prefer a 991. There's nothing about a 997 that I particularly love over a 991, and I like the 991 styling more than the 997. I've got a few friends that have got 997s, and I've never seen one without the engine check light on, so that's a bit concerning. And yeah, the PDKs are a bit sloppy. The manuals are great. I don't know. Yeah, I love the 993 I have at the moment, and if I was going to buy a new one, I'd probably get a 992. But the 991's also cool. But yeah, I know that there's a special place in a lot of people's heart for the 997, but perhaps not for me. Wombat comes back, ever tempted to sell you a Cabriolet for a profit? Yeah, I think my Cabriolet, well actually here's the secret about my Cabriolet. It's about to get its seats redone. For the longest time I've tried to keep it as dirty and scratched and messed up as it is, but the seats are really starting to fall apart. So it goes into an upholsterer this week, and it's going to hit new seats. And then that is the beginning of the end for me. You know, once you get started on fixing these cars up, you can't stop yourself. And so surely I'll probably fix the paint issues as well. And the engine's great, it drives beautifully. It's my favorite car ever, this car. So I really don't want to make it so that I worry about driving it. You know, I love the fact that the dogs can be scratching it, and I drive it every day in the mud and the salt, and you know, I really abuse that car. And it never bothers me, so I don't want it to get so nice that I worry about driving it. But yeah, I could sell it tomorrow for twice what I paid for it, but I don't own it out of profit. I own it out of the fact that I love it. David writes, Nick, you're so self-effacing. Could you say something good about yourself? Also, would you tell us what your favorite OS and search engine is? Oh, okay. What are my favorite OS? Well, I generally am a Mac person, although I have a PC for work for my regular job, and I've got no problem with, you know, Windows as well. And I'm, you know, because I'm a flying guy, I have a flight simulator. I use Microsoft Flight Simulator, and you have to have a PC for that. So I've got a powerful PC for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I've been a Mac guy for a very long time. So Mac OS is obviously my preference. Although I am a bit of a Linux guy too, so I don't know. Probably my favorite OS of all time is Mac OS 7 from way back in the 90s. I love that operating system. And say something good about yourself. So something good about me. What would I say that's good about me? I guess the thing I like about myself the most is that I am a very positive person. I'm always very happy, and I try and see the good in all things. Yeah, annoyingly so. My girlfriends have always said, oh, for the love of God, could you leave me alone in the mornings? Don't be so happy. Don't wake up so happy. You're just annoying. So yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm quite a positive person. So I've always felt that life is going to work out for me. So that's good. All right, PA ADESN45. If Audi ever brought out the RS4 wagon in the US, would we replace the Macan with one? Nope. I love the RS4 and the oval pipes are such a beautiful car. I used to be such a big Audi fan, you know. I had many Audis, I think maybe 4 in a row back in the 90s when one of my first cars was an Audi, and then I had an Audi A4 and A3 and yeah, a whole bunch of cool Audis. But yeah, I don't need a wagon. You know, boring as the Macan is, it's, you know, I'm kind of a Porsche guy these days. My YouTube channel's about Porsche, so I'd probably stick with Porsche, even though, yeah, the RS4 is a really cool car. Womback, so many questions from Womback. The 911 Dakar, yeah, so cool, huh? I can't wait to see more details about that. All right. Oh, I skipped ahead, shit. Yeah, I've lost my place in the questions. Damn it. Damn it, this always happens, doesn't it? Oh, there's so many questions. I'm sorry if I miss your question, ask it again if I've lost it, because I'm just gonna have to jump into the middle of another part of the questions here. Thoughts on the Taikan CT4 and 4S? You know, that shape Taikan is so beautiful, and there's a couple of them in the dealership at the moment that I work with often, Fairfield, but they've been purchased already, so I can't review them. But I will review the new Taikans as soon as I can, and the 4 and the 4S often, I think, the best in the range, or even the base is just the best in the range. You don't need to get the Turbo S and the Taikan. It's a waste of money. Please review the 992 Turbo S. I will, and I know a few people that have offered them to me, and I must get round to them. Why I'm a bit reluctant is because I'm not a huge fan of the 992 Turbo S. I find it to be quite, I mean, it's an amazing piece of engineering. It's awesome to drive. It is incredible and everything, but as far as 911s go, I find it, and this is a terrible thing to say, a tad boring, because it's just so easy. It's just so easy. They're just so easy to do anything. You know, I prefer the manual transmission in a regular Carrera, and the sound of a regular Carrera, and the power of a regular Carrera over a Turbo S, but I will review a Turbo S as soon as I can. Nick is sneaking up on 200,000 subs. I think I am. Pretty close to 200,000 subs, which is amazing because I am a terrible YouTuber. Oh my God. I have this manager, this Google manager who berates me regularly saying, Nick, your channel could be awesome if you put a bit of effort into it, but you never put any effort into it. So this is why. Yeah, they're really nice to me. They try and help me with my channel, but yeah, because it's not a full-time job. It's just when I feel like it, and I don't put as much effort into the YouTube as I could. And oh, here's a good example. This is my only second live stream. I've been doing YouTube for like 8 years. I know, I'm such a bad YouTuber. I should really make more effort. But yeah, I think I'll be 200,000 subscribers any minute, which is funny. Everybody focuses on how many subscribers a channel has, and I guess that's the measurement of success on YouTube. But I never ask for subscribers. I never ask people to like or subscribe to my channel because I don't consider it to be important. I'm more interested in people viewing and asking and enjoying the channel. It's fine the size it is. I'm not trying to be huge, although that would be nice. Yeah, it's not really my goal. So yeah, it grows at its own pace, much to the annoyance of Google, who would like to see it growing faster. Edmund writes, hey friend. Hey Edmund. Wombat, you're so all over the place. Is it a moral universe? I don't know whether it is a moral universe. I am a optimist, so I think so. I think things are getting better and better in the world slowly, and we're getting rid of a lot of nonsense, but yeah, obviously we have a long way to go. Luke asks, Bose or not to Bose? Trying to build my 992 C2S. Well, Bose, so not everybody likes the Bose system because it's a little heavy mid-range in the bass, and not everyone in my Bose it's a rip-off, but and the bass system these days is okay, but I'd still get the Bose over no Bose just to give it that extra bit of wattage power. I think the Burmeister, however it's said, is a total waste of money in the 911. Just people that do that are crazy, because it's only half a system for a start. It's in the front of the car only, not in the rear. And the 911 is such a noisy car inside, you never get to enjoy that high fidelity unless the car is actually sitting still with the engine off, which who's going to sit in their car with the engine off? What a waste of money. So yeah, maybe I think Bose for the cost of it. Alex says, hi Nick. Hi Alex. Ozzy says, yes we can. Of course we can, Ozzy. Tiger Paw says, yes. Yes indeed, Tiger Paw. Tupac says, hi Nick. Hi Tupac. Valdemar says, hi Nick. Hi. Wombat Procedure says yes. Martin says, all good. Tiger Paw, we hear you. Great. Okay, this is everyone saying that we can hear me. Yes, that's right. Good. Okay, catching up. God, we're so far behind already. Okay, jumping down a bit. Hi Nick, do you think, what do you think of the rest mods from companies like Singer, Rensport, Ganther Works? Would you go down that route? Yeah, I would if I had the money. Like if I was a multi-millionaire, I would totally get a Singer. But they're like, I don't know, they're like unicorn droppings. They only make a couple of cars a year, and that's for the millionaires, so I would totally have one. But, you know, at the same time, I'm happy with my stock 993, and it just brings me so much happiness. I'm all good. Please review. I'll skip down some of these. Okay. Okay, Stephen Kruger writes, dear Nick, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the live stream. Greetings from Germany, and above all, my heartfelt condolences for your past losses. I hope you're doing according to the signals, doing well according to I am. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, both my brother and my father passed away recently while I was in New Zealand. So it was kind of, I know, as sad as it was kind of good timing from that point of view. And I was able to arrange my brother's funeral from like he passed away the day after I arrived in New Zealand, and I was in quarantine. I was in quarantine for a week, and so I was able to arrange his funeral, and that went very well. And then towards the end of my stay in New Zealand, my father also passed away. He'd been sick for a long time, so it was expected, and it was quite touching, because it was my father's decision to pass away in the end. On New Year's Day, he called me up to his bed. My sister and I went up, sat by his bed, and he said, look, kids, it's time for me to go. And then he passed away. And so amazing that he got to choose when and how he went. And so his funeral was amazing. I actually have the video of his funeral. I don't think I'll post it on my YouTube channel, but yeah, viewing his funeral was incredible. A lot of the grandchildren got to speak at his funeral, and it was at his house, and we got to run the funeral ourselves instead of a funeral director. It was really a beautiful occasion, really a wonderful occasion. And then the family, myself and my stepmom and my sisters and brother and so forth, lowered my father into his final resting place at the graveyard in Mangawhai Heads, New Zealand, and it just couldn't have gone better. It's just a beautiful day. And yeah, I did the eulogy for my father at his funeral, and everybody says, I noticed the wind pass. So as soon as I'd finished talking about Dad and his life, it was a really hot, still day, and then there was this cold wind that passed through just as I stopped speaking, and everyone's, oh, that was your father leaving, Nick. I'm not sure that I believe that, but it was a cool touch. So yeah, thank you for everyone's well wishes. I know a lot of people DM'd me and messaged me about the passing of my father and my brother, and I couldn't reply. There was just too many hundreds of them, so I do appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. Glenn is Dirt writes, hello from BC. Hello, Glenn is Dirt. T-Pack writes, I was wondering about this. Note, due to the semiconductor supply issues, the production completion July, blah, 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 all Macans will receive manually adjustable steering columns only. Yes, a lot of this is true. So constantly Porsche is selling cars at the moment with parts missing, and then they will retrofit them, or they'll make it so that it's missing a part just to keep the flow of vehicles coming through. So it's true. There are some things, and you'll notice on the configurator, some things are not available, and then they pop back and then they pop off, all because of the supply issues. Alex writes, why don't you buy an electric car, a Tesla? well, I will. I'll buy a electric Macan when they come out. I do love Teslas, particularly the S. I'm not that fussed with the SUVs. I think they're kind of ugly, but yeah, Tesla, amazing. The American car company is doing so well, kicking it out of the park. I've got nothing bad to say about Tesla, but I'm kind of a Porsche guy. My YouTube channel is around Porsche, so I'll try and buy a Porsche EV, and the car I'd like to replace is my Macan, so that's where I'd go. Billy, you should try and fish for those cars that sunk. Well, I don't think they've sunk yet, although unless you're talking about the cars that sunk in when was the last time Porsche had a ship that sunk? 2019, I think, was the last. They regularly have cars that sink. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because they got a lot of EV cars on that sinking boat, and they're obviously on fire. I'm curious to see whether they will, when they go into the water, it will continue burning, probably, I'm guessing. It's a bit of a mess. Alex writes, do you think this summer would be a good time to buy a Macan S? Can I expect any discount? Okay, so if of all the cars in the Porsche range at the moment, the only car really that you can hope to get a discount on is a base Macan or a Macan S. They're the only two that I know dealers have decent allocation on. Whether you'll get a discount, I don't know. It depends where you live. But yeah, it is a good time to buy a Macan S, and I will try and do a video soon on whether or not the Macan S is any less powerful than the GTS, because I did get to drive them back to back briefly, and I thought, Jesus, these are exactly the same. So I'll try and do it a little more of a scientific, maybe a drag race, and see whether I can figure out whether they're actually bothering to detune the Macan S. That 2.9 litre engine just sounds awesome. I'm very jealous that I don't have that in my car. Hardy, my competition winner. Hello, all the way from Lebanon. Hi, hope you're well, my friend. Hecklam writes, do you anticipate cars to become more reasonably priced? When do you anticipate cars to become more reasonably? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows with this semiconductor problem, just parts problem in general. It does seem that all the manufacturers are getting their shit together at last, and it does seem to be coming to an end. So let's hope that cars will be back to normal prices by the end of this year. We're only fingers crossed. Hello from Italy. Hello, Italy. Do you miss your M cars? I miss them, the M4. I do not. Yeah, I don't know whether I talked about this much in the past. I really loved my E91 or 92 or 93 or whatever it was, I forget now, M3 that I had from 2008 through to 2012. I don't know, I can't remember how long I kept that car for, 5 years, something like that. Maybe 2013. That was an awesome car. That was my favorite BMW. That was the V8. Yeah, I drove that across the country backwards and forwards, broke down a few times, but it just sounded great. It really had a soul to it. So when I bought the M4 in 2000, when was that, 2015, the orange one, that was a nice car, but it was the first car I've ever owned that I didn't have an emotional connection to. Like I've always been really emotionally connected to all my cars and really love them more than I should, you know. They're just cars. And I feel sad when I sell them, but that car was the first car that I ever sold that I was, When I sold it, I didn't feel sad at all. It never broke down, it was well behaved, it didn't have a soul as far as I'm concerned, and so that kind of put me off BMWs. And then I drove the new M5 and the M5 competition, and the 600 horsepower car that really isn't fun to drive at all. I really start to worry that BMW have lost their way in a way. I mean, they still make great cars, but yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I'm not really missing M cars. Although, as you know, I have my BMW E30 in New Zealand, which I love to drive. It's such a pleasure. And every time I go to New Zealand, more and more people offer to buy it off me. And every year, the price ratchets up. I've restored it more or less to factory new over the years. I've had it for 20 years or so. And so now it's as close to factory new as it's possible to get that car. It really looks like it's just come out of the factory. And BMW New Zealand, their marketing department, borrow that car off me from time to time for press launches and so forth. And every year or two, I get an offer from them or from someone else. Oh, Nick, we'd love to buy that car off you. how's 15 grand sound, how's 20 grand sound, how's 30 grand sound. Right now they're offering 40 grand for it, so it's slowly edging up in price. Not that I'm planning to sell it, but it's nice, and they're becoming, you know, E30 is becoming rare on the road, and it's just that shape. I love that shape. Please explain the cost of running your Macan. I think prices in Norway compared to Europe. I don't really have any cost involved in running my Macan. It's got its 4-year warranty. It breaks down plenty. There's no shortage of engine lights, and right now the headlights, the automatic swivel and headlights don't work, and the PASM stopped working. That took a while to fix. Yeah, there's lots of little things that go wrong with that car, but because it's under warranty, it just goes back and gets fixed. So apart from gas, I don't have any costs in running it. I own the car outright. I'm not really sure what you're asking here, but yeah, I don't plan to keep it much after it's out of its warranty, so I don't think it's ever going to cost me any money. Heidi and Franny's Garage. Hi girls, nice to see you. They sent me a very nice card the other day. Hi Nick, your camera quality is excellent. Oh, that's good, because last time I screwed it up and had to use a webcam, so this time it's better. Strange Rider 1 writes, I always say no to puddle lights, thanks. Oh, good. Oh, too many people get those stupid puddle lights. I'm a one-man I'm one-man band trying to stop people from getting those puddle lights, but unsuccessfully. Everyone seems to think it's cool. Bro, it's 2 a.m. in Thailand. I'm going to go to sleep. Good on you, Lost Cloud. Elvis writes, do you plan to review the G80 M3? I don't think so. Well, I don't know. Lots of people I know have got them. I'm a bit worried that I'm not going to like it. They don't look great. They don't sound great. They do go fast, and they've got lots of nice features. I don't know. There's a couple of nice colours. It's just so goddamn ugly. I mean, what is wrong with BMW? I don't know. We'll see. When do you think we'll go back to normal? Hopefully this year. Stephen writes, which Porsche models do you prefer? I personally find the 991.2 nicer than the 992. The 992 is just too wide for me. I like the 991.2s as well, or the 9 and the 992s. I'm never sure about the back end of the 992, whether the sports exhaust looks better or the 4-pipe exhaust. I don't know. I'm waiting for the 992.2. Hopefully they'll fix some of the styling issues in the 992. Jeff writes, do you have plans for another meet at Porsche Fairfield when the weather grows warmer? Yes, my friend Will, who runs PTRS, the very popular Instagram channel, he's got like 1 million followers. He and I want to do something together, so he's more organised than I am though, so we'll set a date, Nick, set a date, and I never get around to it. So yeah, we need to do that, and Porsche Fairfield are very happy to host us, and it's always fun. We get a few interesting cars along, so we'll try and do that when it gets a bit warmer. Neb writes, Nick, has your YouTube channel ever conflicted with your real career? Have you ever had to discuss the content of management with HR? Do you tone things down? Yes, at one time. I'm very careful to keep my regular career away from my YouTube career, and if there's a conflict, the YouTube falls flat. Like if I haven't posted on YouTube for a while, it's because I'm busy in my personal life or my professional life, and YouTube always has to suffer. Unfortunately, it's third priority. And the only time HR asked me to talk about my channel was when I used to have the PDK t-shirt, which was a very popular t-shirt, and it was, what was the saying? PDK frees up your right arm so you can scratch your vagina, or something like that. And so it was a little bit on the nose, and so HR called me and said, Nick, what is a PDK? And I told them it's a gearbox in a Porsche. And they said, why does it help you scratch your vagina? Because there are people in this company that watch your YouTube channel, and we're worried that this might be offensive to females. And they're right, you know. I'm not happy about offending anyone really. So I said, how about I take that that t-shirt out of my store and we will say no more about this. And they said, perfect, let's do that. So that's why that t-shirt disappeared out of my store, was that because a few people felt that it might just be offensive, which, I mean, it was meant to be offensive, but it was meant to be funny as well. So I didn't want to upset anyone. AWT, any thoughts on the Irish potato famine? Interesting about the Irish potato famine is that my brother always felt that that was the funniest thing that ever happened to Ireland. But my Irish friends don't feel that it was funny because so many people died. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about that, is that I also don't think the Irish potato famine was particularly funny. Bry Ward writes, hoping to buy my first Porsche soon, looking at the 718 Cayman. Good choice. Yeah, they're such an underrated car, especially the base model. They're so much fun. Every time I get one as a loaner car, I think, God, these are so underrated. It's just as much fun as a 911. Luke writes, I think you've said in one of your videos that you reviewed a 991 Targa for GTS with 7-speed manual, but only found a review of your 991.2 Targa, blah, 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 blah. We have a review of the 991. So yes, a lot of times I film a review and it never actually makes it to my channel. So the hardest part about running a YouTube channel is editing videos. And sometimes I'll be somewhere in the world and someone will take me for a drive or let me use their car, and I'll film it, and then I'll never get around to editing it and it never makes it to the channel. So I've filmed many more car reviews than ever made it to the channel. Some really cool cars too, like I've got a really great McLaren 720 review that I did years ago, and that I've never got around to editing and putting it on there. So I've got no shortage of content. It's just I don't want to outsource my editing because only I know where the mistakes are and where the joins should be and so forth, and editing is such a nuisance. Yeah, often. So yes, I did actually review a 991.1 Targa for GTS, but it never made it to the channel. And I'd say at this point it probably never will, unfortunately. Adam writes, hello from Luxembourg, Nick. I have a 992 GT3 on order. I'm airing towards paint to sample, black olive with silver wheels. Do you approve? I don't know what black olive is. It sounds suspiciously like black. I hope it's not. I hope it's a dark green. That would be really cool. That would be really cool. Yeah, oh, congratulations on your GT3 order. Yep, see, people were getting them, and I'm hoping you didn't pay over the going rate, which I'm sure you didn't. Seems in Europe, everyone's able to get GT3s, no trouble. So yeah, if it's deep green, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be beautiful. Send me a photo. Jasper writes, Nick, good to see you back from New Zealand. Really feel for you. Tough family times. Question, are you fishing for a nice hardtop 993? Yes, well, yes and no. So as I've often said, the thing that I don't like about my 993 is that it's convertible, although it's fine. It's fine. I just have the top up during the winter and the top down during the summer, and it's fine. Every time I drive a 993 coupe, I think, oh, this is just better. You know, it's just the doors closed properly and you don't have the wind noise, and you've got back speakers, and it's just a better car. But I love my little beat up 993 convertible so much now. I mean, as I said earlier in this cast, it's about to go into the upholsterers, and the only thing that's slowing me down is that I'm going to miss it so much when it's away getting the seats redone, that I think I'm going to have trouble getting rid of it. So as an alternative, I've been thinking about buying a second 993, not for here in the US, but for in New Zealand. One day I'll move back to New Zealand, and so I keep an eye on the market in New Zealand for 993s. And right now there is a really beautiful one for sale. It's really hard to find because they've mislabeled it in the search. The guy that's selling it obviously knows nothing about 993s. He doesn't even put the letters 993 in it. He just put the year of the car. And it's a 4S. It's only done 70,000 miles, and it's green. He doesn't even say what type of green it is, but it looks like it's forest green. It's the perfect car. It is nearly $300,000 New Zealand, so that's about 210,000 US, which is way too much to pay for a 993. But I'm so tempted to buy that car. Yeah, if I was already living in New Zealand, I think I'd buy it. So yes, the answer is yes, I would really like a coupe 993 at some point, because the more I drive the 993s, the more I love the power, the sound, just the way they're laid out. Everything about them is marvelous. Harry writes, 992 GT3 Touring or 992 GTS? I'm not sure what you're asking here. These are two entirely different cars. Yeah, you wouldn't cross-shop these two cars generally. You know, you're either a GT3 person and you like the touring and the raw, you know, naturally aspirated engine and all the cost that goes around and discomfort but joy that goes with having a GT3, or you get the GTS, which is just you know, an S with a little bit more power, and the S and the GTS are a lot easier to live with and obviously significantly cheaper. So it really comes down to what you can get in allocation and what your budget is, I guess. Both very different cars. Personally, I wouldn't buy a GTS myself. I'd get an S. And I don't know that I'd ever want a GT3 Touring. They are such an awesome car, but it might be a step too far for me personally, comfort-wise. You know, I like to drive my cars every day. But yeah, a GT3 Touring would always be very, very, very tempting. I'd never get an actual GT3 with the ugly wing and stuff, but a GT3 Touring, what an awesome car. MBS Frenchy writes, hello Nick, waiting on a Targa allocation from Porsche Fairfield. Hopefully something comes in 2023. Yeah, good luck with that. The Targas are the hardest allocations to come by. Man, they're a nightmare. But allocations are starting to come through, and next week, in fact, next week is the next round of allocations for most dealers. So unlikely they'll have a Targa next week, but other 911s will be dished out to dealers around the US for those of you looking for 911s. Uncle Mick Touchy Bottom. Do you know about the M539 resolution channel? It's BMW, but I think it might appreciate work inside the videos. I don't know about that. I'll check it out. SV writes, Nick, thanks again for your advice on the RAS. I'm not getting it for my Taikan 4S. Thank you. Yeah, good. Okay, I'm glad. Ronan writes, hi Nick, what are your thoughts on the Lotus Emira and the Lotus in general? I love Lotus cars. They're really underrated here in the US. You hardly ever see them, hard to find, but cool cars. Yeah, I can't say too much because I haven't driven a Lotus for years. I used to drive, a friend of mine used to let me track his Lotus, his little Lotus Elise back when I lived in the UK. What a magnificent car that was. Apart from getting in and out of the damn thing was nearly impossible. But yeah, Lotus underrated cars, just so awesome. Nick B says hi from Belgium. Hey Nicky B. Do you think the 992.2 GTS will be naturally aspirated? I have no idea. Probably not. Would be my guess. Probably not. Could you do a review on a Vespa? I think you would like a GTS quite a lot. It would fit you. No, probably I won't. You know, I used to ride, not Vespas, but one of my first motorbikes when I was just a teenager was a Honda, what was it called? A Honda Spacey or something. It was a 125 cc twist and go piece of shit. Those days are gone for me. Yeah, motorbikes in general are gone for me now. I've had a motorbike for years and years and years, all through my life, but it's just too hard to ride motorbikes here in the US. It's just too dangerous. And the funny thing about riding motorbikes, I think I've told the story before, is that here in the US, I'm a Japanese bike rider. I like Kawasaki's and Hondas and Yamahas. And here in the US, if you're a middle-aged white guy, for some reason you have to drive a Harley Davidson. I don't want to drive a goddamn Harley Davidson. So yeah, every time I've tried to find a group of guys to ride my Japanese sports bike with, it's always been a bunch of black guys. And they're always, and I'll ride it, can I hang out with you guys? And they're always, what is this policeman doing? What is this guy up to? Like, they're always suspicious of me, but they're always pretty cool and let me hang out with them. But I'm not a good enough rider anymore to keep up with them, and it's just too dangerous. The riding, it's just not enough time to ride these days. Hello from Scotland. I hope all is well. I have an amazing 918S. Yes, those are amazing cars. Congratulations, Jim. Andrew writes, hi Nick, have you given up buying a new 991? I haven't given up. It's just not a priority. And the reason being is that Porsche have kindly lent me the 992 models for my videos in the past, and will happily start lending them to me again shortly. And every time I have one, they're a joy to have. But what I have noticed, like I had one in 2020 for over a month. They lent me one, and it mostly just sat in the drive because I didn't really didn't like driving. Well, not that I didn't like driving, it just wasn't special enough for me. I don't know. I worry that if I brought a brand new 911 at the moment, it would just be for the channel. It wouldn't be for me. It would be for you guys. And that's a lot of money to spend just on the YouTube channel, which I don't produce a lot of content for at the moment anyway. So at some stage I'll buy a new one, but it's not. I really like my 993, so that's kind of the love of my life at the moment. Hi, Nick from Cape Town, South Africa. Hi, South Africa. Hope the rugby's going well. Luke writes, what do you like the most about your 993? What I like the most about my 993, I'm not sure how to pin that question down, because I didn't expect to love it as much. I really like the driving position and the sound and the power that I have to push it. You have to really push that car, 160 odd horsepower, sorry, 260 odd horsepower to get performance out of it. And it's exciting because there's no nannies, there's nothing saving you, there's no traction control, there's no anti-skid anything. So often the 993 scares me. You know, I'll get it sideways a little bit into a corner and realize I need to fix this. No computer's going to fix this for me. And so it gets my heart racing a little bit, that car. Whereas in a modern 911, they're just so easy to drive way too fast. Whereas, you know, I can really beat the shit out of my 993 and still not be doing more than, say, 100 miles an hour. It's really an enjoyable car, and one of the things I also like about it is that it's a little bit under the radar. You know, like, it's not too flashy. People like it, but it's not like I'm a rich guy with a brand new 911. I like that about it as well. And I like that it's kind of beat up. That I can drive it every day. If it's snowing, I drive it. If the dogs got mud all over them, I drive it. It's nice to have a sports car that I don't care about damaging, but yet I can drive every day. And the best part about it, nothing ever goes wrong with the damn thing. I mean, think how many problems I've had with brand new 911s. This 993 has almost 150,000 miles on it. I've nearly tried to kill it myself, leaving it in the garage with the engine running accidentally for 5 or 6 hours in super hot heat, and it just brushed that off. It just never breaks down. The worst that's happened is I've run the battery flat a couple of times because I leave the lights on or whatever, but I push start it and off it goes. Yeah, I love that car. Stephen writes 991.2 or 992. I guess that comes down to your personal preference and styling and features. Of course, if you're buying a 992, you can custom build it yourself. That's pretty cool. Hello from Serbia, from Dustin. Hello Dustin. Hope Serbia's good today. Michael writes, hi Nick, swap my 981 Cayman for an F-Type. Am I going to hell? Well, I don't think you're going to hell, for sure, especially if it's a used F-Type. Man, those things depreciate off the edge of a cliff, don't they? Man, they are a bargain, and they sound so cool. They're fun to drive. I don't know, they break down a lot. One of my neighbours is a big Jaguar guy. He's got an F-Type. He loves it. But it's always, I've never seen it without a check engine light on. But yeah, I think you'll love the F-Type. Hopefully it's a green one. Craig writes, hi Nick, should I sell my 2014 911 cab for a new 992? Definitely. Quickly, get the peak price at the moment and stop buying cabs, get a proper 911 and do it. Yeah, if you're looking to sell a 991.1 at the moment, you will never get more for it. Hi from Zurich, Switzerland. Hello Switzerland, good evening. I lowered my expectations and I'm still disappointed. What to do? Well, you just have to keep lowering your expectations is the way to deal with that. Vladimir writes, do you think there will be a 992 Carrera T? I certainly hope so. Boy, they leave it to the last minute to roll those out, don't they? And they didn't sell as many as they hoped. So there's always been this worry that they might not bring it out. But the fact that they brought out that crappy Macan T gives me hope that the T legend continues and that there will be a Carrera T, which will have the awesome base engine and all the nice gearing and the nice interiors. It's I think the T in the 911s is such a nice package. Andrew writes, 992.2 has a fully digital dashboard. Yes, most likely. VW fan writes, hi Nick, if you added some deviated stitching to your current 911 Carrera, would the value increase or decrease? Well, let's find out, because I'm actually doing exactly that. As my 993 goes in for getting new seat upholstery, I'm having them add deviated stitching, and you guys can be the judge of whether it's worth more or less because of that. Hopefully my car is, as you know, dark blue on the outside and dark blue interior as well, so it's blue over blue, which is pretty rare. And so I wanted to give it a little bit of contrast by putting some lighter stitching in as well, without making it look gaudy. So here's hoping it will increase. SV, one last favor, would you recommend putting the thermo insulated glass? Would it make much of a difference in a Taikan 4S? No, yes, I've been meaning to do the video. Well, I've sort of filmed the video on this in the 911, where I luckily found a car with and without the thermo insulated glass. And in different models, it does different things. In the Macan, it's different than in the 911. But in the 911, I put a microphone just behind the driver's seat with and without thermo insulated glass, and found that there was absolutely no noticeable difference in the sound in the 911 at least. I don't know if that's the case in the Taikan. I personally think it's all a bit of a scam. But who knows, there may be some slight difference. Certainly there isn't a noticeable difference in the Macan either. But in the Macan it tints the windows as well, that's why I got it in mine. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about thermo insulated glass. Michael Williams writes, glad to have you back. So I hear you're in the running to be the next James Bond. Is this true? How are you with Aston Martins? I don't think I am, because that generally goes to cool people and no one ever mistook me for a cool person. And Aston Martins, yeah, I've never known an Aston Martin that didn't break down, so I'm not sure about that either. But yeah, they are cool looking cars, don't you think? Smoking with Chris, how are you, my friend? Hey Nick, any plans on your next 911? No plans, as I've said. I'm sticking with my 993 for now, and we'll see what the 992.2 generation brings. If they bring out something exciting, I'll get one of those. Brian writes, hi, do you like the Macan GTS 2022? I just brought one. Yes, I do like them. Yeah, I think obviously they're the best yet of any Macan. Yeah, my only thing is that I'm not sure that they're that much better than the S anymore. Now that the S has got the 2.9 litre engine as well, I think that's kind of the sweet spot. But yeah, the GTS is a very, very nice car. Congratulations. Kuba writes, hi Nick, do you think that the hybrid Macan is a possible option for the next generation of this car? I don't know. They seem to be talking about going completely one way or the other, not hybrid anymore. Porsche are terrible at hybrid cars, just terrible at hybrid cars. They've never produced a good one. They last about 50,000 miles and then they break down, it seems. Yeah, Porsche hopeless at hybrid cars, so let's hope they don't. But I think we'll see the EV pretty shortly. Ryan Smith writes, what are your thoughts on the 4-litre rumours? Some are saying it may be a 4-litre hybrid combo. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, sorry. SG writes, hi Nick. Hi SG. Das Team writes, my favorite part is you reading out emails from your to tolerate suffering subscribers. Any plans? Yes, I'll do that soon. I've been, what I do is whenever I see a mean comment that I think is funny, which most of them are, I just take a screenshot of it and I file it away in the corner of my computer, and as they build up to a certain number of them, then I do a video on mean things people said about me, and I think I've got a reasonable collection of them now, so I'll do one of those soon. Hi Nick, no question, hope you're doing good. I'm doing good, yes I'm doing good, thanks. Vladimir, is turbo too fast? It's not that it's too fast. Well, we were talking about the Turbo S911. I mean, it depends what you're wanting. If you're wanting a car to drag race your neighbour's Corvette all day, Turbo S is the one to get. If you're wanting a car that is super easy to drive, fast, the Turbo S is the one to get. But that's the problem with the Turbo S. And there's a guy I know in Long Island that just got one. And he was a muscle car guy, all big muscle cars, the fast Mustangs and so forth all his life. And he got the Turbo S and he's super excited, and I was sort of, I don't know how well this is going to go. And he hates it because there's just no drama. There's just no drama. You know, it's super fast. You put your foot down, 2 seconds later you're doing 100 miles an hour. It's child's play. Whereas in his Mustangs and his big muscle cars, they're always trying to take them off the road. You need skill, and there's noise and smell of gas and everything. Yeah, it's people that move from muscle cars to Turbo S's always seem to be quite disappointed because it's just such a, not boring, but that's just such an easy car to drive fast. So, you know, whereas when you push your car, like lower down the range, a Carrera or a Carrera S, and you have to push them a little bit more, that gets your adrenaline up more. You get used to the power of the Turbo S so quickly, and then, it's an automatic all-wheel drive car. It's super fast, looks awesome, just doesn't get the adrenaline up as much as perhaps other 911s. Uncle Mac Touchy Bottom writes, any thoughts on a Porsche going to F1? I've got no thoughts on that. Evan T, hi Nick, any thoughts on the Volkswagen Golf GTI Mark 1? What a cool car they are, huh? Little boxy bastards. Yeah, I would love to own one actually. I always love the older GTIs. S versus 4S versus Turbo, which one do you like the best? Oh, S, definitely. Out of those ranges with the 911s, S is my favorite by miles. Yeah, there's no reason to get the 4S anymore. It used to be that the 4S you required to get the wider back end. Yeah, now the four-wheel drive models within the 911 just suck some of the fun away from owning these cars. They're not as lively in the back, and that's true of the Turbo and the Turbo S as well. The all-wheel drive just sucks some of the fun out of it. Yeah, the S is the model to get, I think. Nikki B, will the 911 die when only electric cars? It's Porsche's core product, even though they don't sell as many as they do with the Macan and so forth. They will, and they've said they will keep the 911 range petrol driven as long as they possibly can. So we'll see. When are you going to get a cheap? Where can you get a cheap 993? Here they start around. Well, you have to. Yeah. There's no. I don't think there's any such thing as a cheap 993 anymore, unless it's broken down. But you won't find one online. You need to know someone that's selling it or whatever. Yeah, you'll be hard pressed to get one under 50,000 these days. They're just becoming too rare and popular. But maybe you look hard around. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I've been lucky. I got mine pretty cheap, but I'm kind of in the know people and so forth. And so yeah, it's one of those things. It's hard to get a cheap 993. Hi Nick, Michael writes, hi Nick, have you seen the reviews on the 992 GTS? Have you been persuaded, mate? I've seen all the reviews, and I'll wait until I drive it myself. I'm skeptical that they're any better than an S. They're an awesome car, don't get me wrong, they are an awesome car. Anyone thinking of getting a GTS, they are an awesome car. Are they any more awesome than an S, is my question. I have my suspicions they are not. GTV writes, how are you enjoying your 993 cab? Still looking for a coupe? Yeah, as I answered this before, I really love my 993 more and more and more. It's such a sweet little car. I would love to get a coupe, but then I'd be sad selling them when I have, which I'd be reluctant to do. So as I said, I wouldn't mind getting a coupe in New Zealand for when I go back there eventually. Hi Nick, will a night blue colour come back to the 911? I'm sure it will eventually. You know, they have to cycle out colours, and the night blue had become an unpopular colour, so the latest, the Gentine blue is such a nice colour as well, so I think that covers the dark bluish colours at the moment, as well as night blue. Ken writes, electric car is just hype, it will pass. I'm sure. Mark writes, Nick currently in a 992S but frustrated by Porsche waiting lists. What's your thoughts on a Lotus Emira V6 from what you've seen so far? I haven't driven one. I've heard nothing but great things about them. Of course, it's a completely different, you generally don't cross-shop these cars, but yeah, yeah, it would be nice to see more Lotus on the roads here in the US, but I can't comment otherwise. Hardy writes, how reliable really are Porsche? Well, for most people, Porsche are incredibly reliable. Most people have no trouble at all, and they really they get more reliable than Toyota is the current ratings here in the US. However, I've never owned a brand new Porsche that doesn't break down on me. Even my beautiful green Macan has a regular trip to the dealership, but not for anything major. So generally, I think the answer is generally they're pretty reliable. Vladimir, have you tested the 992 GTS? No, I have not. I will soon. Stephen writes, which Porsche models do you prefer? Personally, I find the 992 one, yeah, we've seen this one, I've answered this one already. Richard Lucas writes, no question. Good on you, Lucas. Keep it up. David writes, starting as a junior software engineer, only hold a high school diploma and got a job by building my own project. Should I go to college? God, that's a hard question. I don't know. Answering other people's questions on career. What I'll say is within the IT world, having a college diploma, having a college degree is less important within IT than in other areas. Work experience is more important. So if you're going to stay within IT, maybe you don't need to go back. You could just work experience will build your way through. Connor writes, Nick, can you give Clifford Spies a shout out? He's your biggest fan. Hey Clifford, here's a shout out for you, my friend. Tab writes, what's your view on the 993? Oh hey, yes, well I've talked about that a lot already. Dan Brown says, do you regret buying your E30 BMW with an auto instead of a manual? So yes and no. I do get a lot of grief about having an automatic E30, and no, I don't regret it. Certainly, I'm willing to admit that manual transmission, and here's the interesting thing. So it's really quite easy to make the change. I could always put a manual transmission in the E30. A lot of people do this. It's all wired and it's all easy to do. It's hard to go the other way around. Why would you anyway? So I could do that in the future, but I did buy the automatic intentionally in my E30 BMW in New Zealand because I knew that it would just be a cruiser car for me, and it is a cruiser car. When I'm in New Zealand, I just cruise around New Zealand in my E30 with the 4-speed automatic gearbox. It's perfectly fine. I just have so much love for that car. It's awesome. Bjorn writes, how's Tui's coke habit? She's good. She's pretty much cured. We're now on to Smudge's various issues. We'll talk about that in a future YouTube video. He has a handful, that child. I love him so much. Wombat Crescendo. Will tortoiseshell eyeglasses frames. Have a look. Anyway, I've been trying lots of different eyeglasses lately, so you'll see me. I've got a new pair coming this week. Green. El Ray, what do you think about the high-end coilovers like I've never installed coilovers in any of my cars, but I am a big believer in them. I just don't know enough about the subject. I know a lot of my friends install coilovers in their cars, and it's been very, very successful. And in 911s, I've seen it done as well, but I don't know enough about it to comment really. SGM writes, what's so special about your 993 compared to other 911 sim range? I know it's air-cooled, but so what? Yeah, it's got nothing to do with it being air-cooled. It's more to do with, I mean, it is nice that it's air-cooled. It makes a different sound than the others, but that's not why I love it. I love the simplicity of it, I guess, is the number one thing I like about that 993. I'm able to fix a lot of the problems myself, which I can't do on the more modern 911s. And the parts are incredibly cheap for the 993. Like, I just replaced the headlights on it recently, and they're only $140 each. Whereas it's $1,000 for the same part from the 996 generation onwards. And part of it is because Porsche was so broke back then, and people don't realize this, but Porsche was so broke back in the 90s. Hang on. Porsche was so broke in the 90s that they actually sold their parts department, their genuine Porsche parts department, to other companies. So when you often buy parts for the 993 generation, the parts are much cheaper because even though they're genuine Porsche parts, they come from different companies or something like that. There's some reason why the 993 parts are very, very well priced. But yeah, I love the way the pedals go into the floor. I love the way it feels when you change the gears. I love the sound. I just love I walk out to my garage each day and I've got a comfortable Macan to drive, or I've got the 993 to drive, and I drive the 993 every time. In fact, the battery went flat on the Macan this week because I haven't driven it for so long, because I drive the 993 each day. Hi Nick, I know you love Porsche forums. Oh, they're the worst, such bad information, as much as Alcantara. But your 992 GTS review made a lot of waves. I bet it did. I've been waiting over 12 months for a 992S manual transmission cab allocation in Montreal. Good luck with that. Connor writes, Nick, can you get, oh, I did that already. Richard Lucas, I did an ice experience in Lapland this week. Did you ever do this? Yes, I've done that. I've done the snow experience, the Porsche snow experience, a couple of times, and one in Europe one time. I'm a big fan of snow driving, and that Lapland experience, which I've never done, I've done something very similar to. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. It's, you know, it's drifting in the snow in the 911. What could be more fun? Vladimir, do you use pedal shifters on PDK? No, I never do. Pro Moto Life, do you think the Mission R is the new 718 or a new car that's coming? I don't know. I don't think they're related. JL writes, do you think the Electric Man is coming? Yes, it's coming next year, probably, although they seem to be, with their production problems, it would probably be delayed till 2024 now. Touchy Bottom writes, Nick, you've gone through a rough patch, but nevertheless you look like you're doing good. I hope you are good. Keep doing good work and take care. Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, I had lost my father and lost my brother, but yeah, my father was very dear to me, and it was very sad when he passed, but he'd been sick for a long time, and I was very pleased that he got to pass in the way that he did, and chose his own time and his own way. He went out the way he lived. It was pretty cool to see that. And my brother was a shock, but once again, it was his choice, and you know, I could talk about that more, but it's you know, I'm fine with it. You know, it's sad, but life goes on. Life goes on. Contractor writes, do you think Porsche should try and keep the Cayman as an ICE car, or do you think the BEV rumors are the right play? Well, here's the thing, you know, as I said in yesterday's video, Porsche are not about doing the right thing. They're about what's going to sell cars, and I bet they are planning to move them completely to EVs because it might sell more of them, because the Cayman Boxster, as amazing as those cars are, have always been very slow sellers. And I think they'll try with the electric, and if it doesn't sell well, then they might keep it as an ICE. I don't know. They'll do whatever the market demands. So I think we'll see them as an EV for a while at least. BTB podcast was discussing the Porsche Macan and the biggest was one of the best cars, and they said, yeah, Porsches are known for their reliability. I just had flashbacks of your cars. I love your videos, Nick, and the vibe. Oh, thank you. Hi, Nick. Thanks for all your great reviews. What would you consider a good price value for a second-hand Porsche at this moment? There's no such thing as a good price value for a second-hand Porsche at the moment. Don't buy a second-hand Porsche right now. Wait 6 months or a year. Let's wait as the production of new cars come back in. The ludicrous prices that people are paying for used Porsches at the moment, you're just going to lose 20 grand in a year. Honestly, just don't do it. You can wait. You can wait a year. Wait for prices to get back. Remember, a 2017 911 was down to 70-odd thousand in 2019 before this nonsense hit. And now they're up to 90,000. It'll go back to 70,000 as soon as new cars start pouring in again, which can't be too far away. Baff Spotter writes, hi Nick, hi Baff. Vladimir, leather or race tech interior? Personal taste. I like the race tech, but there's not enough colours in the race tech at the moment. David writes, love your videos, Nick. Thank you, David. Nicky B writes, Nick, why buy a 911, 911, 992 instead of a 992S? You can tune the 992 standard to 500. So the big difference between getting a base model 911 and an S, it's got nothing to do with the horsepower, although there's people buy it because the S has more horsepower. And as he rightly says, you can tune the base model to the same as the S model. That's not the reason to buy the S. The reason to buy the S is everything else you get with the S. Most importantly, the Porsche torque vectoring, which you cannot get in the base. And that's where the problem with the base lies, is that you put all this extra power, but it can't put the power to the wheels because it doesn't have the electronic locking diff in the back, which is so important when you add so much power to these cars. And the second reason for buying the S is you don't lose as much money. It's just the way it is. The second-hand market wants an S, and so they'll pay a lot more for the S, whereas the base models devalue a lot faster. So always get the S instead of the base, even though the base engine is perfectly fine. Those two reasons alone are reasons to get the S. Michael writes, my dearest sympathies to you and your family, Nick. I've enjoyed your channel for 4 years since I bought my 991.1. Congratulations. Manual Carrera S, which I still love. Of course you do. It's a great car. Ricardo writes, hi from the Azores. Oh, the Azores, how cool. Same place. The ship is on fire. Yes, you go out and take a photo and send it to us. The Azores is such a cool place, isn't it? Al Boris writes, hi Nick, what's your thoughts on all the Porsches detained for the US, destined for that have been wrecked? Porsche lead time's going to be even worse. Yeah, obviously we're going to have a short, they send a ship every 3 weeks, I believe. So there's going to be a 3-week delay now, I guess. It's not going to have a big impact, I don't think, all these ships, all these cars getting lost near the Azores, but it's going to have some impact. What's your favorite colors in the Porsche range and most hated colors? Well, it depends. The color I really love at the moment is the papaya color that I think is in the Panamera and the Taikan. That's a cool color. I like colors. I like bright colors. Even I've always sort of put down yellow because it's always been a bit of a color to me. If you're buying a yellow Porsche, you're going through a midlife crisis, but at least it's a bright color. Whereas as you know, I detest the grays, the silvers, the blacks, the whites. Everyone gets these colors. It's like 80% of Porsches are in these boring colors. if you're getting a cool car like a Porsche, get a colourful car. So yeah, I really like the Mamba green that my Macan is in. I'm in love with that colour. Just any brighter colour. The colours that I'm less in love with mostly are the base colours, the base black, the base yellow, the base white, and the base guards red, because they are very flat colours. They don't have any depth to them. But yeah, I'd still rather a colour than a boring grey car. So, but everyone knows that I like coloured cars. But buy what you think is the colour that suits you and your personality. Don't listen to me. Now that the Taikan has been on sale for 2 years and the novelty is worn off, what is your opinion of it? You know, the funny thing about the Taikan is that I've never really loved the look of it. So I've never really wanted one myself, but they are a cool car, and they're the only car that's, well, shortly there'll be a whole lot of cars coming out, as you know, EV cars that are going to go up against the Tesla Model S. But yeah, the Taycan is a nice step in the right direction for EV cars, and it fills a spot. I think it's still a cool car, not for me. T-Pack writes, hi Nick, hi T-Pack. How did you first start your relationship with Porsche Fairfield? Also, Manhattan Motors Porsche seems pretty rough. Yeah, I have to be careful about what I say about certain dealers, not mention them by name because they get shitty with me and try and sue me. But yes, one of the dealerships you mentioned in your comment is arguably the worst Porsche dealership in the country, maybe the world. They are just blatant in the way that they rip their customers off and do despicable things, but they get away with it somehow. I don't know how. But yeah, back to your original question, yeah, Porsche Fairfield, they were just my local dealership, and they've always been very good to me, so they always look after me. So yeah, and they've been very, what I'll say is they've been very good to my viewers as well. They can't always help every viewer, but in the past they've always done their best price-wise for my viewers, which I really appreciate. Okay, jumping ahead a bit here. DP writes, aloha from Maui, Nick. Just joined the question. I have a manual 981S with all the trimmings. Sell now. Well, if you want to get the most money for it, definitely sell now. Have a 4-litre GTS manual transmission. Oh yeah, if you've got one coming, sell it. If you don't need it, you will never get more money for it. My goodness, the prices at the moment are insane. What do you think about the GT4 RS? I think it looks amazing. I think it's going to be one of the most fun Porsche cars to own. They're not the easiest cars to live with, obviously, but yeah, I think one of the coolest Porsches out there, of course. David writes, starting as a junior, answered this one already, I think. Ozzy writes, do you know how difficult it would be for me to import a Golf spec car into the US? It would be incredibly difficult. I tried for a while to import a Volkswagen, what are those damn things called? A Scirocco, a modern Scirocco. I love the little Siroccos. They were never popular, and we never got them here. And so I tried to import a modern Scirocco into the US, and I just got nowhere. I think it's 20 years or 25 years before you're allowed to import non-US spec cars. It's really hard. If it's past 25 years, then it becomes really easy all of a sudden. Graham B, hi Nick. My wife keeps asking me when your next videos are coming out. Can you stop being so interesting and addictive? I'm 15 years younger than you, and I can't keep up. Hi to Graham's wife. Thank you, my friend. Yep, I do try and stop being interesting, and I certainly don't think I'm addictive. Yeah. Dan, where did you buy that green jacket you always wear? Green jacket I always wear. I don't know. I don't know which green jacket you're talking about. The only green jacket I have is a... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one you're talking about, sorry. Trade-in values are so high, should I take my 992 C2S cab for trade it for a Cayenne and pocket some cash? Ugh. Who would get rid of their 911 for a Cayenne? But if you need the cash, that's the way to do it. But yeah, you're in for disappointment driving a Cayenne, I think. Hi Nick, I believe the Macan GTS is better deal here than the S in Europe, essentially €2,000 more for 60 horsepower. Do you agree? So the thing that I don't agree with is that it is actually 60 horsepower more. We will see. I will do a drag race between the S and the GTS. Certainly in the US at least, I don't think they're detuning the S like a few of the other cars they've done this with in the past. They say that it's less, but it ends up being the same. So I think the S is still going to be the better value. Network writes, Nick does not seem to be reading the YouTube stream. Is it running on Facebook? I don't know what that's about. Matt writes, what's the 993 to get with budget and fun in mind? Oh, well, as 993s are outrageously priced these days, it's hard to find one that's a budget one, but you know, any base 993 is a magic car to own, so whatever you can afford. Owen writes, how long has this been going for? Let me pause for a second here because I'm getting, I've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, so we'll go for another half an hour. When are you getting a new sports car and what will it be? I don't have any plans to get a new sports car currently, Owen. I'm really enjoying my 993, but we'll wait and see what the 992.2 generation brings us. Mark writes, what about the cops? Oh yes, so yeah, the cops did turn up at my house the other day, and it's pretty boring the reason they came. There was a burglary on my street, which is pretty rare around here. The cops really don't have anything to do because there's no real crime in this area, but there was a burglary. They were very excited. And they think they know who did it. They just wanted confirmation of the car. And I have security cameras on the front of my house, 2 different security cameras from 2 different angles. And they know this because I'm sort of friends with the local cops. And so they used my security cameras to get the video of what cars were going down my street. And I think they got the guy, yeah. And they confirmed it with the video from so that was cool. They came and played with my dogs. Alboris, I had a 996, 997 generation 2, 991.2 and a 992. The best car is the 991.2, my current car. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree. Keith C says, when am I doing a house tour? Well, it's been a couple of years since I did a house tour, but I am reluctant to do another one because nothing really changes around here. My goldfish have got bigger, my dogs have got dirtier, my gorillas are much the same, and my garden's grown a little bit, but I haven't made too many changes. I've sort of been waiting for inspiration to repaint rooms and redecorate, but I'm pretty happy with the way my house is. So it's pretty similar to the last house tour I did, so I'm not sure that's worth doing another video on that. Tracy Robertson writes, hi Nick, I have a 2020 base Carrera with sports exhaust and sport chrono. What do you think of an aftermarket exhaust? Am I being crazy for a 71-year-old? You might be being crazy. So the problem with the aftermarket exhausts is that they sound so awesome, except for when you're cruising. Find one that doesn't drone and you're doing really, really well. But that's the thing, is that the aftermarket exhausts almost all drone at cruise speed. Maybe you'll get lucky, and I don't know. It's hard to find. You've already got a sports exhaust. I don't know why you'd want to risk an aftermarket, but you could try and take it back off if you don't like it. But yeah, that's the trick. It's finding one that that is reasonable when you don't want it to be loud. Mega Thumper 777 writes, any new t-shirts coming out? So here's the thing with the t-shirts. So as I've said before, my store is closing. I'm closing my store because it's been too much work for me lately to keep up with it, and so I'm going to move the t-shirts to an outsource, because lots of people say, oh, you don't have this size or this color, or I really want this one back, and blah blah blah. And I have a room upstairs full with t-shirts, which is my sort of t-shirt store, and it's just getting out of hand. So I've been running that store down, and I'll reintroduce t-shirts through, I don't know however other YouTubers do it, but with my funny sayings and styles on it, so that there'll be a better range out there. So yes, so some new, and there's a whole lot of new ideas I've had for t-shirts. So sometimes later this year you'll have new t-shirts with some new funny sayings. Philip writes, hey all, good evening from Europe. Nick, should I go for a very customized 992S or for a used turbo? What do you think? Oh, a customized 992S by miles. A used turbo, I mean, that's a more boring car than an S. Definitely, yeah. You don't want an all-wheel drive turbo with a PDK. You don't want that. Get the car that is perfect for you. Customize the car that's perfect for you. You'll love that much more. Yeah, just because the turbo is a little more powerful doesn't mean it's any more fun, that's for sure. Mike Cease writes, Nick, will you be reviewing any more affordable cars again? Your Mark 7 GTI and Golf R convinced me to get an R. Yeah, it's, as you know, I don't do that many car reviews anymore. I'm just time restrained because of other things that go on in my life. I do love the Golfs though, so I'll try and review a Golf at some point. John Smith writes, I remember Nick saying the 992 GTS would be a waste of time. How wrong was you, Nick? Well, I don't know that I was wrong yet. We'll see. I haven't driven one, so I could be completely wrong. You're right, I could be completely wrong. I certainly don't trust the media in general on these things because they just write what Porsche wants them to write. But yeah, we'll see. Is the new GTS any better than the S? I don't know. Hopefully it is. The old GTS certainly wasn't. So we'll see. Have you test driven the new Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT? No, I have not. It's not a car that I'm rushing to drive, unfortunately. But yeah, I'll try and drive one soon. There's one coming into the dealership soon. Anthony writes, hi Nick, I know you're not a fan of the 911 GTS. With the new 992 GTS and various options, has this now changed your mind? As I just said, yeah, I haven't driven it yet. So maybe when I drive it, if I see a substantial difference from an S, I'll go, oh, I was so wrong. But I certainly don't like the wheels, and I don't like some of the other guff that they put on it. I don't know. It's I'm definitely in a minority here. Everyone else likes the GTS, so maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. We'll see. I like your 928 sold once fixed. Yeah, I was glad to sell that car. It's every time I drove it anywhere, it cost me another $1,000. I didn't love that car as much as perhaps I should have. It was certainly a pretty car, but I've no interest in getting another 928. There's other Porsche models I like a lot more. Hey Nick, as your previous owner of multiple M cars, how do you find the new M3, M4? I am horrified by the new M3, M4. Both by the look and the sound. I can't get past it. I was hoping they'd grow on me, but they're just a horror show. Scott Kidd, long time commenter, first time viewer, waiting patiently for my Targa GTS. Oh, good on you if you've got one. Finally on the assembly line. Wow, talk about unicorn poop. That is a rare car these days. Pretty cool. Congratulations. I love your 993, always was looking for a 997, but the 993 is the last of the old school 911. Love the size and the styling. Me too, I really like the size and the styling of them as well. I think they're just beautiful cars. Martin writes, do you feel like David Duchovny driving around in your beat to shit 911? I do a bit actually, sometimes. I should remove one of the headlights and then I'd really be that character. You abused the 991 as well. Yes, I did. Alex writes, hey Nick, I bought a 993 too around the same time as you did. These cars are special. Yeah, they are. They're really, it's hard to put your finger on them. There's so many wonderful things about them. What is your opinion on the Cayman R? Have you driven one? I have not driven one. They'd look awesome though. All of your 9912 content pushed me over the edge and I bought one of my very first 911, a C4S. Thanks for your help. Tip. Oh, congratulations, Cozy Buffalo. Good on you. Fish Sticks writes, how come no naked snow leaf shoveling? We've seen you raking leaves and mowing. Or we've seen, because it's too cold to be naked outside during the snow. In fact, even when I'm got all my stuff on, I'm still cold. The dogs, I have to go walk the dogs in the snow every day. Yeah, I'm not going to be naked in the snow. It's too cold. Joe, goodness, hey Joe. thanks for calling in. One of my absolute favourite long-time YouTubers spent hundreds of hours watching you over the past 5 to 6 years, mate. You're the best, my friend. I love you as well. Hugo writes, what? Scott writes, will you get back to flying more and posting videos you're flying? Yes, so about the flying. I am going for my fixed wing check ride in 2 weeks' time, at long last. I've been a helicopter pilot for 20 years, as you all know, and I converted to fixed wing back in 1990, and I got this close to getting it all done, and then COVID hit, and I stopped flying for like a year and a half, 2 years. And so I got back into it, and I had to re-sit my exam, and so I've sat my written, and I've done all the prep, and I've got all the books ready, and I've studied, and I've booked in my check ride, so I'll be a fixed wing private pilot in the next few weeks, and I'll do some videos on that once I've got that done. And I'd really like to buy my own plane, so I'll do a video on that as well. So yes, flying, I'll get back to my flying, and I don't know whether people are aware, the helicopter videos, which I only do 1 or 2 a year, are by far the most popular videos on my channel. I mean, they just get thousands of views a day, all of them. It's just amazing how popular those videos are, and they're like 2 hours long, me going through every knob and switch. They're really detailed, boring videos in a lot of ways, but people just lap that stuff up. They love those. Hugo writes, girlfriend? Yes, I have been seeing a girl. Martin writes, more house videos would be great. As I said, yeah, there's not much change in my house, but I'd like to buy a house in New Zealand at some point. Oh, I just lost my place. So if I lose, shit, I just lost my place, sorry. So if I miss some of your comments, just write them again. Goodness me. Okay, so I don't know where I was, sorry. Hang on, I'll look for that one see if I can find my place. It's annoying how it does that. All right, I'm just going to jump in a place here. So sorry if I miss one of your comments, but we're probably running out of time anyway. Craig McHugh writes, how's the calculator watch collection going? Any new purchases? Actually, I have purchased a few new calculator watches. It is one of the saddest parts about me is my love for calculator watches. Yeah, I'll do a video on those soon. Yeah, I've got a few quite rare new calculator watches that I purchased recently, like the loser that I am. Greetings from Lithuania. I wear It Burns When I Pee now, and it's magnificent. That is a magnificent t-shirt. It's not a popular seller, but whenever I travel, I try and wear that t-shirt, and boy, it upsets people. You know, I'm sure you find the same thing. People come and why would you wear that t-shirt? It really upsets people. I love the fact that it upsets people so much. It's cool, funny of a t-shirt. Thanks for the amazing videos. It definitely helped me buy my 991.2. Good. Mark writes, Guru clickbait. Cops at the house. Yes, the cops. I did explain why the cops were at the house. They came to get my video footage. BP, any modifications to your Macan, or is it stock? Did you modify aftermarket? What would it be? And so the Macan, a few people have offered me modifications for the Macan. Probably the one I was the most interested in would be a horsepower upgrade for it. They're really easy to jump the horsepower up to 400 horsepower. However, because it breaks down all the time, well, not breaks down, but it's always got a check engine light or some error message on it. There's an error message on it today, for example. I'm a bit reluctant to modify it because I don't want that to be the blame for anything that goes wrong with it. So keeping it stock, and it's a beautiful car stock, so I'm in no rush to modify it. I might put a different exhaust on my 993 911 though. Dorian Gray writes, oh my gosh, it's Nick Murray. Just got into this chat where you have opinions on Sport Tex versus full bucket seats in a Boxer T. I was going to email you about this, but here you are, Mr. Sport Tex. Yeah, well, I really love the Sport Tex. It's such a breathable, just better than leather. You know, everyone gets leather. So, and full bucket seats. Well, full bucket seats, it depends. Are you going to be comfortable enough in full bucket seats? I mean, they're super supportive, but it's just a step too far for a lot of people. Victor writes, hey Nick, what do you think about the 992.2 Carreras? I feel they are close to the 993 and could be had for less money. I don't think they're anything like a 993 myself at all. Obviously they're a lot more modern, faster, easier to drive, got, you know, computers helping you and so forth. Yeah, it's just a different car. Yeah, if you want a more modern 911 experience, I think the 997 is a good choice. But yeah, the 993 is an entirely different car to drive. Adam writes, I have ordered my first Porsche. It is a 911 C2, May delivery. Have any advice, good or bad, on remapping the engine to increase the power closer to the S? Yeah, once you do that, be aware. The problem with the base model getting the remaps, of course, is that it doesn't have the PTV Plus, and so you'll feel the car losing traction, and it'll struggle to get the power to the ground with the C2. But otherwise, yeah, it's really easy to remap. Lots of people do it. It's about $600. You have more power than the S, but maybe you don't want to do it. I personally prefer the C2 stock. It's more fun to drive with less power. More power doesn't make it more fun in my mind. Robert writes, I'm torn between a BMW M4 F82 and the Macan S Turbo. Which one would you choose? Strange to cross shop those two cars. One's a SUV and one's more of a sports car. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously I would choose the Macan. If I only had one car, I don't know. I'm not a big, I don't love the M4s anymore. So obviously I'd get the Macan, but the Macan it's not a sports car. It's not a fun car to own. It's just a nice, comfortable luxury car. So it depends what you're looking for. John G writes, hair dye, Nick. No, I need to hair dye, don't I? Probably here. See where I'm going all grey? Yeah, I'm too scared to hair dye though. I think once you get start down the road of dyeing your hair, see, I got a lot of grey coming in here and grey coming in here, but who cares? Who cares? You go grey. Robert Cox writes, I just bought a 993 cab after seeing yours. You're so right about them. Cutest car ever. Yeah, they're really cute. Yeah, can't say enough. Easy cars to maintain as well. Adam writes, after all the issues, what is your relationship with Porsche these days? Love you, Nick. Well, I think Porsche love and hate me. I think they worry about me saying horrible things about their cars, which I do some from time to time. But at the same time, I think Porsche appreciates that I sell so many cars for them, because at the end of the day, the work I do with helping people understand what options, the options videos, I think is the most important thing I do for Porsche, is helping, it's so overwhelming when you buy a new Porsche and there's 130, 150 options. Unless you're really experienced with these cars, you've got no idea. Is rear axle steering going to make a difference to me? Is this type of tire going to be a problem? What is the difference with that color? Why am I doing this? It's overwhelming, and Porsche salespeople are not really trained to help with that. They help to close the deal. So I think Porsche are pretty grateful that I put a lot of effort into helping people buy the cars, even if it does mean they sell less options, because mostly I say don't bother. Yeah, I think generally they like me. I think. I don't know. They're certainly happy to send me cars, so I guess that means they like me. Aaron writes, hi Nick, what would you buy next, a 993 Coupe or a 992? Well, we'll see what happens with the 992.2 when it comes out. If it's pretty cool, I might get one of those, but I'd much rather get a 993 Coupe, to be honest. George Jen writes, can you do a video on luxury Porsches, Macan and Cayenne versus sports car Porsches? What do you mean? I don't understand this question. You're either buying a luxury car, an SUV, or a car, or a sports car. Yeah. So I guess it leads to an interesting subject, that there's this undercurrent of people that buy Porsche sports cars thinking that they're buying a luxury car, and then they get a bit of a surprise. And I know a guy who I helped get a GT3 recently, and he wrote to me and wrote, Nick, to be honest, I really hate this car. And that might sound ridiculous. He's got a new 992 GT3 and he hates it. And it happens more often than you think, in that because in his mind he was paying $170,000 for a Porsche, he thought he was getting, he used to own Mercedes, he thought he was getting the comfort of a Mercedes, but he's not. He's getting a sports car, and a GT3 is a particularly harsh sports car that is not pleasant to drive on city roads and so forth. It's basically a car for the track, and it's a lot more uncomfortable than a regular 911. So I'm not surprised. If he thought that he was getting a luxury car, no wonder he hates it. And that happens more often than people think. People think just because you're spending a bunch of money on a Porsche, you're getting a nice, comfortable car. It's not the case sometimes. So yeah, be careful about what you want. But yeah, I'm not sure what you're asking there really. Okay. Martin wants to know, what about your ex-wife story? I don't think I'll ever probably talk about my ex-wife on YouTube because I suspect she watches. And she's a nice enough lady. I don't want to drag up the past. Yeah. Let's not. I talk about my marriage in private, but probably not on my YouTube channel. Any upcoming car reviews? Yeah, well, I need to get back into car reviews, and there's a whole lot of cars at my local Porsche dealership and some other dealerships locally that they want me to review, so I should get my finger pulled out. It's just kind of cold going out at the moment. Scott Leach writes, 2016 Macan GTS or a 2018 S? I love the channel from the start. I would not get either of those cars. I would save up a little bit and get a 2019 S. The reason is they switched to the Audi engines in 2019, which have proven to be so much more reliable than the crappy Porsche engines in the Macans, which have the aluminium cracking bolts and oil pan leaks and various other problems that everyone's now having to pay through the teeth to fix. So yeah, if you can possibly, there is a big jump in price between the 2018s and 2019s, I know, because of this, because no one wants the older models anymore because they know what a pain in the ass they are to keep on the road. But yeah, if you can possibly stretch to a 2019 S, you'll have a much more pleasant Porsche owning experience. Hi Nick, we met in France, Maximum, back in 19. Yes, we did. When will you come back and see us? So I still work for a French company. I work for a different company now. And I will probably come sometime later this year to France. So I'll try and do a meetup in France because I do love the French, even though I'm hopeless at speaking French. Dane writes, Nick, I met you in a dog park in Westport a few years back. Oh dear. And it's a fond memory of mine. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. That could have gone either way. Robin writes, I watched 20 minutes of your car talk just to see your cute face, Nick. Hi. Hi, Robin. Thomas writes, what's your opinion on the Taikan interior? Do you think it has aged well? I do not think the Taikan has aged well, but if you notice, they have been improving the interior. I knew that they were a little bit... I knew that they cut a few corners with the early Taikans, but if you look at the latest ones, they've really improved the interiors. So without saying anything, yeah, the latest ones are a lot better. All right. Sal writes, do you have a still day? I do still have a daytime job. That's what takes up a fair amount of my time. I really enjoy my job. I work in IT. I'm a vice president. What's my title? Vice president, global IT operations, something like that. So I look after IT for a big multinational company, and I have really great staff, and it's a really cool job. I really enjoy my job, and so it gets in the way of my YouTube career, that's for sure. Stephen King writes, I would love to see more videos on smudge. And do you go balls deep? And go ball deep on several 964s. Yeah, I will do some videos on 964s. There's a local dealer that specialises in them just down the road, and I haven't done anywhere enough stuff on older 911s. That's something I'd like to do more of this year. And Smudge, yeah, Smudge is a very funny little dog he's on my Instagram account all the time. So if you want to see more of Smudge, see him on the Instagram. There's always videos of it. Smudge doing crazy things on Instagram. He is an hilarious little monkey dog. He might be from another planet, I'm not sure. Humi says, I think you're great. Oh, thank you, Humi. Is that you, Mum? Mark writes, Nick Murray, are you single? I have a distant cousin friend of another friend that is single. Okay, good. Owen Wu, why didn't you keep the E92 M3? Talk more about it, please. So I had that car for 5 years. It was a blue, Interlagos blue, I think it was, with black interior and the carbon fiber leather. It was fully optioned. Every option ticked on that car. I got it in 2008. It never featured on this YouTube channel because I sold it before I started the YouTube channel. And I brought it when I lived in California, and I drove it across the country to Connecticut, and then I moved back to California for a while, and I drove it back to over there, and then I drove it across the country. So I did a lot of long road trips in that car. And just like all of those E92 M3s, once it got to about 80,000 miles, bad things started happening, and it was actually the throttle actuators all broke, or one of them broke, and it took down the others at 49,050, like just minutes before the warranty ran out. And so it was broken down. It was in limp mode, and I limped it to the dealer and said, here, I took a photo of the dashboard, see it's under 50,000 miles, fix this under warranty. And they did, even though by the time I got to the dealer it was over 50,000 miles. But yeah, it was starting to cost me. And that was when I sold that car, is when I got my first 911. Like, my dream was to get a 911. So I sold that car. I traded that car to Porsche Fairfield, and they sold it to someone locally. I see it driving around sometimes. And that's when I got my 911. That's why I sold it, because it was starting to break down a little bit, even though I'd done 80,000 miles in it. It was a really cool car. Jason Lee writes, base Macan versus base Audi Q5, your thoughts? Well, the big difference, they're basically the same car in a lot of ways. The big difference is the Audi is a front-wheel drive car, which is rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive system when it needs extra grip, whereas the Macan is rear-wheel drive. It does four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive when it needs to get more grip. So if you want a bit more of a rear bias car, but yeah, obviously you get more stuff on an Audi for the same price as a Macan. The Macan is a heavy car for that little engine, but it's perfectly fine. If you really want the Porsche key ring, buy the Macan, but you'll get more value for money out of the Audi, of course. Ricardo says, wait for Porsches with smoke and water damage coming soon. I don't think they're ever going to make it to this country. I think that ship is actually going to sink, so I don't think we're ever going to see it. And certainly it seems that all the cars that are inside that ship are on fire anyway, so unfortunately we won't see any cheap smoke water damaged cars. That would be fun though. Troy Roy, do you think that with your videos you are influencing Porsche decision makers to develop and install unnecessary things like Alcantara? I don't think I have any influence whatsoever on Porsche. I don't think, although there's been a couple of strange things that have happened where I've said something and they've done something about it. So maybe I do. It's interesting who watches my videos within the Porsche world. There are a few people high up that seem to watch what I do sometimes, maybe just to make sure that I'm not misbehaving too much. But I really don't think I have too much influence over anyone on anything, so yeah. But notice that Alcantara disappeared completely from the range. They changed the supplier after I badmouthed it so much. Maybe that was partly me. I doubt it though. Loud Whisperer says 992 Turbo S or GT3. Once again, this is a strange, a lot of people ask this question, and they're both, you know, the Turbo S is really a lovely, easy car to drive fast. It is comfortable and you could drive it anywhere, but it's so powerful and easy, it's really not a challenge. Whereas the GT3 is the opposite. It's loud and bumpy and crass and difficult to live with. Yeah, you almost need the third category of just a regular 911, which is what I'd choose every time, something in between. The GT3 is a magnificent car, but would I drive one every day? Not on your life. Oh my God. Yeah, what a pain in the ass that would be to drive every day. And a Turbo S? No, I wouldn't want that one for every day. Just a regular 911. They're the coolest. They sound the coolest. Yeah, you don't need to go to the extremes. But yeah, if I wanted a weekend track car, the GT3 definitely over a Turbo S. Sean writes, new car inventory is not improving at all in the next 6 months. You're probably right. You're probably right. Nameless, can you buy the base with a manual either? You can't buy, yes, that's true, you can't buy the base with a manual either. It's the other reason not to get the base. Yeah, the manual cars, the S911s, the manual transmissions really hold their value a lot better than the PDKs. 911 Scales writes, I can't wait for an electric 718 after spending time with the Taikans. I would love you to do more Taycan videos. Would be very interested to see how it goes in the US compared to the EU. Yes, I'm going to do some more Taycan. Taikans have really been lifting their game, and the new models, the cross turismos look so cool. Yeah, I will do some more. Tom Insta Images writes, if I order a light projectors, can I still be a subscriber? You know the answer to that, Tom. Nathan writes, favourite Formula 1 team? I don't really follow Formula 1 anymore. I used to be a big Formula 1 fan in the past. I just don't have the time to follow it, so I can't really answer that these days. South Island is better than the North Island, New Zealand? Wow, isn't that just the truth? those goddamn North Islanders, what do they think they're playing at? Christopher writes, the voluntary emission recall on my 991, should I have the dealer do it? Definitely, go ahead and do it. It's they'll probably fix 6 other things while it's there and break 2 or 3 other things. Snazzy, you boys will never beat my Holder Gemini back in the day. It's just true. The boys beat me, but LOL, always good times, way better than crap cars talking about today. I think she's talking about a Holden, or he, I don't know, a Holden Gemini, maybe an Australian car. How cool. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Nick, are you still looking for a blue manual F355? It is a dream of mine. Not necessarily blue, I'm happy with other colours as well, but blue would be cool. It is a dream of mine to one day own a Ferrari 355. I love them, in manual transmission only. Screw those crappy F1 transmissions. Yeah, it's my favourite F car. They're not the cheapest cars to own, and I don't have any garage space, so it's not a priority of mine. But one day I will have one, and I will love it, and then it will catch on fire like everyone else's 355 seems to. Merifin writes, hey Nick, what do you think about the GT4 RS? I answered this already. House update, Nick, I answered this. Any upcoming car reviews? Yes, one day soon I will get my shit together. Sorry, everyone. JTags writes, hi Nick, I love your videos. Late to the stream, just heard the comment about the noise-insulated glass. That opinion kills the most important option for me, rear wiper. Oh, you're so right. Of course, you're dead right. If you have the stupid noise-insulated glass, which doesn't do anything, it also prevents you from having the rear wiper, which is so important, as we all know. Snazzy writes, can't beat UFOs, have a great day, love from Australia. I knew it was Australia. See, there we go. Brian writes, hi Nick, I've been following you for a long time. Oh, you fool. I finally just bought my first Porsche. Oh, I think I've read this already. Art Vanderlei writes, Chris Harris has a yellow Touring. Yes, he does, and he drives it every day. When I watched that video about him driving his yellow Touring every day, I was really impressed that he was able to do that. And I think if you have and I think the Touring does make owning a GT3 that much easier, because I wonder whether he would drive a regular GT3 every day. Well, knowing Chris Harris, he probably would. He's pretty awesome, isn't he? But yeah, I'm pretty jealous that he gets to drive a GT3 Touring every day. He's a legend, that guy. All right, skipping ahead. Stephen King writes, also go balls deep on a 356. Why haven't you done that yet? What's the matter with you? Well, actually I'm holding off on doing, I did actually do a video on a 356 a few years ago, to be fair, but I'm holding off on doing any more because my friends Heidi and Franny, who've got Heidi and Franny's garage, they have one. So one day I'm going to go out and see them and drive theirs. So I'm holding out for that. Mackie writes, thoughts on a 996 GT3? Goodbye. Around the same price as a 997 manual? Well, it depends. Once again, with the GT3 world is a little bit of a shift, you know, it's a little bit more extreme, and so it depends if you're using it as a as a track car and back road thrasher every now and then, definitely. If you're using it as a day-to-day drive every day, then the 997 is going to be a better buy for you, because GT3 cars are hard to drive every day and expensive to keep on the road. Tuned into cars rights. Hi, Nick from Sweden. Sweden. One of my favourite countries. Nick, unfortunately, 90% of the Swedes buy PDK. Wow. Fools. Caymans. So I really have a dilemma. New manual 718 Cayman T or a 918 Cayman S, I assume with a PDK. 718 Cayman T with manual transmission would be the way I'd go. Andrew Murdoch writes, when are you buying another 911? I think I've answered this. Paul Miller Porsche in New Jersey has a 20k markup. Well, I think everybody in America at the moment has a markup on their Porsches. That's crazy. Don't pay for a markup on your cars, just wait. Marwin writes, hello Nick, I'm a big fan. I bought a 991.2 turbo cab 40 months ago, using it as a daily. Oh, nice for you. That's what I like to hear. Driving around 20,000 kilometers a year. That's nice. That's the way to do it. That's a man after my own heart. So I was thinking about getting a 992 4S. Will it be more comfortable? Not really. Not really. Certainly, no, I don't think so. The 992 is slightly quieter inside, and it's just ergonomically a little better than the 991, but there's probably not a big difference between the two cars. I wouldn't rush out to get one if I was you. I think you'll be happy staying in the car you're at. Yeah, not a big difference. Glenn Hawkins writes, hi Nick, stumbled across your channel a few years ago. Great content. Part of the interest is you're originally from just around the corner from me in Langs Beach. So sorry to hear about your brother. Yes, Langs Beach is the next beach up from. Hey, can you two just wait? That's my dogs. Hang on, I'll just let them out. Stay right there. I'm back. Yes, Langs Beach, next beach around from Mungawhai Heads, where I grew up. Beautiful beach. If you're ever in New Zealand, take the opportunity to drive past Langs and Waipu Cove and so forth. Yeah, a lovely part of New Zealand. Or New Zealand's just endless beautiful beaches anyway, but yeah, that's one of my favourites. Hi from Norway. Have you totally lost interest in BMWs? Lately, yes, I have. Lately, BMWs have been putting out some pretty shocking cars, to be honest. Pretty boring cars. Fast, lots of cool features like selectable rear-wheel drive and stuff like that. We've all wanted for years, but just so ugly and sound. How are BMW making cars so boring to drive these days? That's my question. Alpha the Chicken, hi, where did you buy your Gorilla? Oh, so William, hey William, William is about 30 years old. That's how long I've had William. I bought him in a stationery shop in, what? TSR, I forget, it was so long ago. So I used to live in Hong Kong for a while, and I bought him when I lived in Hong Kong. And it was some English bookstore that I bought them in. Yeah, I doubt that you could buy it there now, 30 years later. There's a similar Gorilla to William you can buy on Amazon, I think. People are always asking where to buy Gorillas like William. Brian T, looking to get a Macan or a Cayenne, better to just order or try something in inventory? Oh, definitely order. My God, never buy off. I've made that mistake. I bought my first Macan, the grey one, from the shop floor because it was close enough. That cost me a fortune because as soon as I got it home I realized what a mistake I'd made buying off the floor. That's the whole point of buying a Porsche. Always custom order. It doesn't cost you any more. Get exactly the options you want. Otherwise you end up making the mistake that I made and buying off the floor and getting it home and realizing it's not really what you wanted, and you end up having to sell it back and buy one custom ordered. Yeah, always. That's the whole point of buying Porsches. You can get exactly what you want. Andrew Murdoch writes, what is flashing in the background over your right shoulder? It's a light flashing thing. Jody writes, 911S or GTS? Well, I haven't driven the GTS yet. I could be proven very wrong that the GTS is just amazing compared to the S, as everyone else seems to think so, but I've got my suspicions that it's basically the same as an S. Joanna writes, hi Nick, do you think other cars priced like Honda S200 will ever go down in price? No. Very unlikely, very unlikely. The cars like that, which are getting rarer and rarer and more sought after, I think will always go up in price. All right, it has been 2 hours of me talking nonsense. I think we're going to have to wrap this pretty soon. How many people on the stream? My God, there's hundreds of people on the stream. I can't believe so many people watched this. Thank you for watching, everyone. It's pretty amazing. You guys follow me. Oh, come here, Tui. Come and say hi. Yes, you little snorter. Yes, say hi to the viewers. Put your head up. Yeah. Tui is going to be 10 years old this year, I think. You're getting to be such an old girl. Yes, you're such a talker. But she's still good. She's no health problems. She's got a little growth on her foot, which the vet's going to hopefully chop off this year, but it hasn't caused her any problems, and we tested it for cancer, so it's no problem so far. But yeah, she's such a wonderful dog. She never causes me any trouble. Unlike another dog I could talk about, Smudge, my little sweet boy. All right, I'll answer another 10 or so more questions, then I think we'll have to call it quits. Obviously, this is more popular than I thought it was going to be, so I think I promised to do one quickly last time I did a stream, and that was 2 years ago, and it took me 2 years to do another one. So maybe I really do need to do these more often. All right, Dave, hi Nick, great channel, awesome Porsche videos. I'm looking to get a 911 C4 given all-wheel drive. Thoughts on Sport Chrono with that setup? I don't know, do you plan to do launch controls in it a lot? If so, get Sport Chrono. I don't know. Sport Chrono really gives you two things, doesn't it? It gives you the extra driving mode, Sport Plus, which no one ever uses, and it gives you launch control and the little clock thing. Are those important to you? Some dealers will claim that Sport Chrono is a must because of resale value, but that's a load of nonsense as well. If the cost of Sport Chrono is bothering you, you're not really missing out if you don't have it. DLG, will you ever branch out with your views and evaluate some Genesis vehicles? I think the Koreans are killing it right now. I do think the Koreans are killing it. They've been killing it for a while, actually. Those sneaky Koreans, they do things very well. I think, has anyone not got a Samsung something of something? Yeah, pretty cool. And I'm a big player of StarCraft, so I like Koreans for that reason as well. But I struggle to get enough time to do reviews of Porsche vehicles, let alone anything else. So unless I, in some miracle, go full-time with my YouTube career, which seems unlikely at this point, I don't think I have time to branch out to other types of cars. Sorry, I'm sure there's a million other YouTubers covering that stuff though. I will just try and focus on my little niche here in the corner. Hi Nick, do you think VW will spin off Porsche soon? I need a stock tip. No, I do not think that will happen. Richard Norris, my friend. Richard Norris, who helps, he's the Rapid Dry Towels guy. Hi Nick, how many Rapid Dry Towels and which versions would you buy? Asking for a friend. Thanks Richard. Yeah, it's Richard's company that does this Rapid Dry Towels, and I know I'm a bit of a preacher on the Rapid Dry Towels, but it is a product that I use myself and love. That is why I'm happy to promote his product on my channel, not just because he's my friend and not because he gives me a little bit of money, but because it is a genuinely great product. And so yeah, and if it wasn't, if people were pissed off, and there's been some delivery problems sometimes and so forth, and I try and make that good. But yeah, it's I like to keep my cars clean, but I like to put no goddamn effort into it. Like, I'm not a car cleaning guy. I'm not a, people get really upset with the way I clean cars and always send me abusive emails. Every time I do a car cleaning video, man, they get stuck into me. Oh, you did it the wrong way. You need 3 buckets. You need to hold your tongue this way. Why are you doing it from the bottom to the top to the bottom? You know, people are anal about cleaning the cars. I just want my car cleaned in 5 minutes. I want to spend no time on it, but I want it to look good. And then, and that's it. So that's why I like that product. So yeah, thanks Richard. Thanks for your products, always good. Sanjay Mail writes, hi from London. Hi London, I used to live in London. I am that good. Hey Nick, when do you think the first hybrid 911 will come out? I suspect next year, but we will see. Evoluting the brain, or brain. This is your workplace more like Intech or Dunder Mifflin? It's much more like Dunder Mifflin, although these days I work from home. So it's like this house here. So yeah, I don't go to the office anymore. Like most people, my regular corporate job is from home. My office, our head office is in Paris, and I used to have to go all the time. But because of COVID killed so many people, but helped a few of us as well. COVID made it so that I and my staff work from home now. DM writes, I just want you to know how much you appreciated your sincerity and unique sense of humour never fails to make me laugh. Oh, that's good. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, DM. Yeah, I'm glad that some people find me funny. Yeah, I often wonder. Yeah. Dave, I've been dying to ask, is it that light in the background in your videos too over your right shoulder? Yes, it's the same video. It's the same light. It's just a hypno. I think they're called a hypno cube. You can get them on Amazon, $100. Just makes flashing lights, annoys some people. Skunkworks writes, hello from Sweden. Hello, Sweden. So obviously there are hundreds. It seems there are hundreds of comments I have not got to, and I'm very, very sorry I have not got to them in this, but I can't. I'm losing my voice now. I've been talking for over 2 hours, so we're going to have to call it quits. And because there are so many hundreds of comments I didn't get to, I'm going to have to do this again. So maybe in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, I'll do another live stream. And anyone that I didn't get to the comments, I'm very, very sorry. I'll try and get to them. I think this went pretty well this time. No real technical problems. Just a lot more people on the stream than I thought there would be. So I haven't been able to get through all the comments, which I apologise for. But we had a good go at it. I'll read 3 more comments and then we'll call the stream to the end. Once again, thank you everyone for joining the stream. I hope I answered some of your questions, and I promise to do another stream soon. So those of you that I didn't get to your questions, we'll catch up with you then. All right, let's randomly pick someone that I don't think I've talked to. Richard Jones, have I talked to you yet? Hi Nick, Porsche UK as Juniper paint, basically metallic pink. Can you get the stateside? I don't know. Would be perfect for late meetups and mustachio Freddie Mercury look-alike mates. Yes, this is true. Ben writes, what's your thoughts on the increasing noise on increasing the noise at the E46 M3? I love my SMG. You're probably alone there. I can see you softening to the mechanical engineering and sequential manuals. No, I'm not so. Yeah, I have only driven the SMG model once, and that was a M5, the first M5. I wasn't too impressed with that, but yeah, they're fine. They're good launching cars. Yeah. I don't know about increasing the noise on them. Anything to everything. Hi Nick, I had an an AMG, and now a JTM car, particularly GTR R35 now. I've never had a rear engine car, but really interested in a Turbo S car now. What do you think will be my biggest change ride? Well, I think you'll be amazed how much more sorted a Porsche Turbo S over a GTR. The GTR is an incredible bit of engineering, but man, they're a rattly, bloody yeah, bundle of bolts, those cars. I've never driven a GTR that isn't incredible to drive, but also, my God, they always seem like they're falling apart, but maybe that's just the ones I've driven. Wayne writes, any more helicopter videos coming? Definitely more helicopter videos coming. I've got a few things lined up. They're really hard to do and hard to organise, but man, they're very, very popular videos. I've got a whole core viewership around the helicopters, so I need to keep that rolling. And that's one of the most fun things I do is helicopter videos, and it's pretty unique to my channel. I really love doing them. And now it's got to the point where the manufacturers have noticed how popular my videos are and actually offer me helicopters to review, which is amazing, just amazing. Like Bell helicopters now go, oh, when you're going to when are you going to review another one of our helicopters, Nick? We'll fly it to you. You can fly it around. We'll send you a team, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I've always dreamed of, having that happen. So that's really cool. That's finally there. All right, team. Thank you again, everybody, for joining the stream. Sorry, once again, if I didn't get to your message, but I will do another stream soon because it's been a lot more popular than I thought. And I will sign off now. Have a good rest of your Sunday or Monday, depending on where you are. And thank you, as always, for watching my content. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye then.